Zed, and today the uncomfortable conversation we're going to have is around the word evil. Anyhow, what does this word mean? What is evil? Well, most of us were taught that evil is second one half of the influences of this world. There are two main influences. One comes from God, one comes from the devil. A guy that was a fallen angel, someone who questioned the serpent in the Garden of Eden, just all around the guy that basically is anti-God. This is the source of good and evil. So, if something is good, it's going to be done on the side of good. So, God's side. That's, unfortunately, describes a whole bunch of negative stuff, things that might not be considered good, but because it was on the good side, it could not be considered evil. But on the other hand, anything that comes from devil, Satan, what do they call him? Anyhow, I don't know all the names of the devil. Not that big of an influence in my life. Kind of like God. But yes, he's the one that will tempt you, will bring sin to the world, will offer you an apple that you are not supposed to eat. And that very first story gives us the introduction between the dichotomy, the false dichotomy, of good and evil. God, the one who created all things, is going to give you a certain set of rules, a way with which you should conduct yourself in this life. If you follow these rules and you do exactly as you are supposed to, there is a promised land that you might get. So basically you have to sacrifice your reality here for the potential at a reality beyond this place. If, however, you are tempted by this one, the bad side, the one who will tell you that God is incorrect, that the plan and the creation and all that he has done for you is not what he says it is, that's evil. And unfortunately, this false dichotomy has allowed some really atrocious shit to happen. So people that have been on the side of God have been able to justify the horrible actions and the horrible deeds that they have committed against you, against me, against our ancestors, against the world. They're justified because they were on the good side. Now, if we zoom back from being in our own group and we start to see each other as those groups, each of these groups believes that they are on the good side. A lot of the horrible actions we see in the world are done by people who are claiming to represent the good. Their actions clearly aren't good. They're not good for us. They're not good for the world, so on and so forth. But the justification is that they are acting against evil, against this threat, this force that is anti-God, who is trying to corrupt the souls and the goodness of all that he had created. And that's the story that we're told. So you can be a Christian company who charges 500 times what your product is worth. 500 times what would be a normal, good, decent product. But because you are a person who's taking advantage of all sorts of people, and you are a Christian, so you're on the side of good, you're not doing anything wrong. Yeah, you might be hurting other people. You're affecting their life in a negative way. But it's not evil. It can't be evil. You're on the good side. But if there happens to be a competitor company who isn't charging 500 times what their product is worth or what the price should be, and they're actually helping the community and they're doing all sorts of stuff and they are genuinely doing good within this world, but they are not the followers of the good faith, they could be considered evil. And this is where the falsity and the big old bullshit flag comes out. I can do what I want, and it can be good. But if anybody else does what they believe is good, it could be considered evil, and thus should be wiped from the face of this earth. Oh, okay. Well, I guess it is my opinion that that is all very, 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 very incorrect. That there is no influence of Satan. None of us has some horned red dude coming up and tapping us on the head and being like, oh, ooh, suddenly I just want to I want to do drugs and partake in the rock and the rolls, and I want to burn babies, and no, that's not how it goes. But what we do see, what I consider to be what is the true evil in the world, what is the bad versus the good in this dichotomy of the reality that we all share, is greed. It's selfishness. The very thing that people on the good side have been touting as not being the worst because they created this other enemy that was so much worse. So now I can be as greedy and selfish as I want to be, but as long as I'm on this good side, it's not evil. It's just, working within the system as it works. Right. But, so when someone steals from you, they're being greedy. They're being selfish. They are not abiding by the one overarching rule that should guide us in all of our life. The golden rule. They're not treating others the way they want to be treated. Easy enough. So, in my opinion, when something horrible and atrocious and disgusting happens in this world, and it affects you, and it affects me, and it affects our ability to continue on this earth, it's not some red dude that's coming up. It's selfishness. And that selfishness and that greed exists on all of the teams. It exists within all of us. It's on our shoulders to listen to both the greedy side of ourselves and the kind side of ourselves, and hopefully we've been given the guidance and the advice and the life lessons that allow us to choose the kind side of us before the selfishness. So, if I see someone fall down and I'm in a race, people will be very happy if I stop running the race thinking only of myself and the win that I can get, and instead take a moment to help out somebody who had fallen, ensure that they're all right. Yes, that is good. Doesn't matter what faith you believe in, you stopped and you cared about someone else. To me, that is good. That's the best of us. And we do that in so many different ways. Because we have the kindness inside of us, but we also have the selfishness. There are times where we want to fight someone, where we're in an argument and we start off being in a position where we're almost equal. We both have an opinion, we're spouting back and forth, being disrespectful or respectful, doesn't matter. But eventually one person might feel as though, oh, I've gotten to the point where I no longer have a point. I've been disproven. So now, instead of continuing in the argument, I'm going to win. I'm no longer going to regard the golden rule. I'm not going to treat this other person the way I want to be treated if I were in the same situation but reversed. Now I'm going to get louder. I might even get violent. I might even pull out a gun and shoot that person because I wanted to be right. Because selfishly, I wanted to win. I didn't care how. I didn't have some horned dude come up and put his spiked dick into my ass, and that's why I started. No. God, that would be amazing. Not the dick in the ass, but the idea that we could blame it on some outside character, that we could pave over the earth with some non-permeable paint, so then, the horned dude couldn't come up and make us act like morons. God, that would be nice. But the problem is the metaphorical devil, the metaphorical God, they're inside of us. I mean, it's not God and the devil, it's just the idea of being kind and being selfish. It's the story of the two wolves. Which one are you going to feed? Because that is who the world will see. But we've allowed people to tell us that evil and good, that's how we should judge the world. And because of that, we've allowed people that are on what is the good side to get away with so much bullshit. So much. And it continues today. I think it's a cover. It's a way that those who want to be greedy, who want to be selfish, those who are at the top of the religious hierarchy, are basically pointing out to other people and saying, don't pay attention to me taking advantage of you. That's not what's important. There's something even worse happening. That influence of that red character we made up. He is affecting other people. So yes, while we might be taking advantage of you and we're stealing your livelihood and your children and whatever, your culture and anything that you were associating to this world, we're taking that away from you, sure. But we're doing it to protect you from that big red horned guy. Really, you need to worry about those ones over there. Those ones that don't really have the ability to steal anything from you. Those who aren't taking from you, but who are just trying to exist in this world, but not on our team. That's the problem. They are evil. They are trying to influence this godly world that we're trying to create for you. We're only stealing all this from you to create something amazing. Yeah, you're not going to see any benefit from it. It's not for you, sure. But it's to protect you. So I guess in a roundabout way, I'm going to convince you that all this goodness for me is going to benefit you. But I needed to create something, so I made up a word. Evil. And I've been throwing it around like crazy. Oh shit, you realize I'm doing things? Look at that. Look at that. That guy's evil. He's doing something horrible. Oh, he's not on our team. He's trying to ruin our team. Ruin him first. Don't worry about me. And it works time after time. It's a great distraction. My hope is to take it away. There is no evil. There's greed and there's selfishness. And we all need to look out for it, not just within ourselves, but within those who are saying that they represent us. It doesn't cost an arm and a leg to be a good representative. Ask your parents. You're a parent? How much does it cost for you to do the thing that is taking care of your family? Right. I mean, we all want that moment to ourselves. So an hour a day, that might be what it cost you. How much would someone have to pay you to keep doing that? Right. But our representatives want to get paid. And we are paying them. We're paying them out the ass. But they're not doing anything for us. They're doing the same thing of the old times. Point out, look at those guys. They're the problem. Don't worry about what we're doing. Matter of fact, you should protect us, which, by the way, is what Fox News is. They are a representative of the corporations, the powers that be. And they are doing so many bad things to the American people, to the hard-working, faith, family, and work-oriented Republican voters, the U's. They're taking advantage of you. They are using your faith as a way to manipulate your understanding, not just of the world, but of what they are doing to you. So they're going to take your money. They're going to take your vote. They're going to convince you to act against your own best interests. And they're going to distract you because they don't want you to turn around and realize that the ones who have been hurting you the most are the ones who actually represent you. So they spend all their time, all their money, and all their energy pointing out. Look, those are the people that are destroying America. It's not us. Don't look this direction. God damn it. Don't you look this direction. Look over there. The libs. They're trying to protect people and have rights. They're trying not to die. They're destroying this place. We need to do something. And all that includes is just don't look here. Don't look at me. I'm the real enemy, so I need to point outwards. Look at those evil fucks. But when we recognize that evil is just a ploy, we can understand that those who use the term evil are not trying to help us. They're throwing blame to lie to us. So, I am well aware that people are going to claim that I am evil, that I've been touched by the red horned guy. Man. If that were true, you'd think I'd be doing well enough. Apologies. If that were true, you'd think I'd be doing well enough that I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you giving an opinion to a bunch of people that probably aren't going to listen. But those who do are probably going to be pretty negative about it. Man, you think if that guy was really trying to persuade me to do something, he would have just given me like a shit ton of money, or like a little segment of America where I wouldn't be touched by any other American. Oh, wait. That's what our representatives have, though. They're completely detached from us. Don't worry. That's a different conversation. Here we're talking about evil. And yeah, it's been that way the entire time. We've had people that were telling us about other people being evil, and then simultaneously saying, if you don't trust us, if you don't believe what we're saying, if you don't do exactly as I tell you to do, I'm going to take your kids away. I'm going to quarter you. I will have a horse pull you apart. I'm going to bring you in front of the town square, and I'm going to slowly start dissecting you in front of your friends, your family, and anybody that's ever known you. But I'm the good guy. I'm trying to save your soul. From what? From whom? Bad guys that would do horrible things to you to get you to do something? Because you're not saving us from that. You are that thing. So we keep letting the manipulators manipulate. Okay, if that's something that you're fine with, by all means, let it happen. Some of us need to have somebody to smack us down. Some of us get that kink. I'm not that guy. I'm not somebody who needs somebody to tell me what to do and when to do it. I'm the kind of person that likes to learn. I'm a fan of having people that show me the example. People that are at the top that are the example. I'm a fan of leaders that lead from the front, not from the back on their little tweeting machines trying to manipulate other shit. No, that's not a good leader. That's a shit leader. A good leader is the one that will go first, that will call you to follow them. But we don't have those leaders right now. We've got representatives. And those representatives don't represent the American people. They represent the American corporations. And religion? It's just the oldest and the biggest corporation. Their job is to make money by taking the resources of the world and turning them into profit, turning them into power, turning them into influence. And then we start to look at our religious buildings, and you recognize that those weren't erected as a way to make us better. That was a way to give themselves prominence. You and I are being convinced to pay our money, to pay our effort, our time, our energy, and our general understanding of how things work. We have to pay all of that in hopes that someone is representing us on the good side in this battle between good and evil. But the battle's not real. The battle is between greed and kindness, of being able to continue. I've used the analogy of what is it called? The spoons. Guess it's just called the analogy of the spoons? I don't know. But the idea that heaven and hell are the exact same place. It's a loaded table, tons of food, and lots of us sitting around it. We have everything we could need, just like here on this earth. Everything we could possibly need. But we have utensils that don't allow us to feed ourselves. We have utensils that ensure that we are reliant on one another. And if we want heaven, if we want that place that all of us truly desire, that we're almost willing to give up everything about this reality in hopes of attaining, because somebody promised it to us, we can do it here. We don't have to wait. We don't have to allow some greedy, manipulative assholes who are only taking and taking and taking from us to sell us this promise of something that might or might not come after we die. But they do it because they convince us that to not do it might mean that we're siding on the side of evil. And evil is the last thing you want to be. That's how it's supposed to be. But what does it mean? Do you really think that Satan is coming around and touching people? Do you really think that that person has that influence? I mean, sure, there are many people that have talked about, how God is supposed to be the most powerful being in the world. God is supposedly the creator of the fallen angel that became Satan. Again, not sure on the whole story. But okay. But is God powerful enough to defeat Satan? Well, sure. But he hasn't. Because there's a plan. What's the plan? I don't know. Just do as I say because I said so. We're going to keep Satan at bay. Okay. One real big problem I have with the book of Genesis, or the idea of God being all-knowing and all sorts of things like that, is that if God was all-knowing, then you think he would have given us a hint as being like, by the way, this is the correct one. I, being all-knowing and so on and so forth, am able to see time and space and whatnot, and I recognize that eventually you guys are going to royally fuck this up. You're going to have a whole bunch of people that are going to stand up and say, no, 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 I know. No, 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 I know. No, 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 I know. In many different languages. And sure, I, as the creator and the one who realizes that this is going to happen, could provide that clarity to you. I mean, it's almost like I provided this whole book of understanding, but I left that part out. Doesn't really make sense if it was from the creator who was trying to reveal the secrets of the universe. But it absolutely makes sense when it comes, or when you think of it as a book that was written by people. Of course there's going to be mistakes. People are stupid. You and I are stupid. We're basically children. Yeah, we're older children, and some of us are gray-haired children who have, decades and decades of experience here on this earth. But unfortunately, religion's been here longer. Religion is a story, a narrative that's been passed down from generation to generation to generation to generation. And they've been telling us about this fight between good and evil. But if we take a step back from our own story and we look at the history of humanity from a different perspective, from just pulling back a little bit, we're going to see that the people that would be the most evil, and not evil in the way of not being on the team of God, but being that they are working against humanity, stealing and treating others not as they want to be treated. Oh, it's going to be those who are telling us that other people were evil. Those who are supposed to be representing the side of good. They are the most bad. And they got away with it because they labeled everything else evil. And we need to stop letting them get away with it.
It's Matres.